Welcome to the Night Before Reset, a podcast where we apparently find ridiculous leaks which are definitely fake about Classic Plus and then spend 4 hours talking about them. But no, in all seriousness, this podcast is strictly a TBC Classic podcast for the time being. But on the basis this week has been full of leaks about Classic Plus, streamers going out on a mission to Blizzard, but apparently they can't divulge any information about what that mission was. We're going to dive into it a little bit and see what we think, see what these leaks are like, see if they look legit. So I'm joined by 3 of these beautiful co-hosts that are obviously returning from last week. Hi, Hammer, over to you first.
Hello. What's going on, everybody? Since last week, I've been kind of just hanging out, getting ready for SSC TK, which is launching this week for any of you guys out there playing TBC. It's actually pretty interesting for me because I'm switching from playing a Fury Warrior over to playing a Prot Warrior this phase, so I'm learning about all the resistance gear and everything that is needed. So I'm kind of having a good time with it, and that's really what I've been up to. I actually also started a second Warlock on the PvE server Dream Scythe to play in my buddy's guild over there. So that's pretty much what I got going on.
Cool. Go. What about you?
Yo, thanks for having me back. And I've been playing SOD actually this past week. There's been a revival of a guild on the Horde side and the Alliance side over on Wild Growth. And they're going through like the level bands. You level up. You got 2 weeks to get from 1 to 25, which I think is kind of too long. Takes you like a day. So I'm level 24. I got another 2 that's level 20. Going to be smashing some BFD, some Gnomer, some whatever the third one was, Sunken Temple. And then at level 60, go through the raids and play some SOD while I'm playing TBC. Still doing TBC. Been prepping a little bit this week. I finally got my Thornling seeds. I went in Dire Maul East, did some jump runs, got some herbs, made a little gold, got some demonic runes. DM East is just a chill place to be to get everything that I needed ready. But yeah, I think that's about what I've been up to this week. Been doing some raids. Finally got my ult up to 70. I got 2 boomies now, so cranking 25s, carrying everybody, doing my little 1k DPS on my little boom booms. And then yesterday I went to STV because part of my raid prep was going to be to get the fishing rod from the STV fishing event. And I went out there and I didn't win the event. Spoiler alert. Somebody won it in like 16 minutes and I only had like 21 of the 40 fish or something like that. I don't know how they were catching fish so fast, but there was a little PvP action out there. There was another Horde player that was hopping on my lore. What a little bastard. I almost reported that guy for gameplay sabotage. He ruined my event, and I can't summon Lurker now because of that guy. I'll never forgive him. But Nolty, what you been up to this week, man?
I just love how you're just playing a different version of the game, regardless of what you're playing. You're out fighting people, hopping on your lore during fishing. For me, guys, honestly, I've just been preparing my Warlock, trying to get him caught up because I'm either going to play Affliction or Destro in our raid. And yeah, that's about it for me. I've kind of been stuck in Discord, just recruiting players because I lead our squad and everybody has some sort of issue at some point. And it's the roster boss. Someone's in, someone's out, someone's mad. They don't have a shaman. A shaman quits, and it's a bit of a mess. The main issue for us at the minute is the PTR testing meant we had to add on a day so that we would get all the loot. So that's important apparently. And yeah, and then you've got people, I can do this day, I can do that day, I can't do this day. And I'm just like, look, we're doing it these days and that's it. If you can come, you can come. If not, I'm going to recruit over the top of yous, which hasn't been fun. It's either the roster boss is rough. But other than that, guys, yeah, I've been having a good time. Me and Scotty did a world tour pretty much the last 2 days. I think we got about 100 badges in 2 days. That was good crack. But yeah, just playing the game, that's it.
Me personally, like Nolty said, that's been my life for the last few days, has been doing ridiculous amounts of heroics. Yeah, I think we done everything other than Mechanart and Blood Furnace. I think we only missed 2, didn't we? Yeah. But yeah, that was some good going. But I've been doing it purely for resistance gear because we was going to have our Warlock tanking Leo, but instead I'm going to do it. So basically I've got until Thursday to get full fire res gear for my Paladin, and I need, I think, 26 more badges, and then I'm done. I've got everything. But
I'm near done too, so I am. Like, I was getting the fire resist gear as well with you.
Yeah.
I'm near done. Like, that's a fresh character.
Yeah,
And we have
the
our
longest
paladin
part
doing
for
it
me.
too.
Oh, you do? Yeah, it just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The
Our
longest part.
dude, our lock had the full set and he quit. He literally just quit last week. We were like,
roster
oh
boss.
no, yeah. Just every week there is roster problems, but
Well, our lock's still got a full set, so like we've always got that option. But yeah, the worst part for me was I done all of my attunements on the druid because obviously just running around killing on a feral druid and doing stuff is just easier, isn't it? So I got fully attuned, thinking, well, I don't need to worry about doing it on the paladin. But then because I wanted the fire res ring, which you get from obviously the final trial killing Magferidon, I then done the full SSC and TK attunements in literally a day. We done all the heroics for the attunement and everything, and yeah, it's been good, man. Like, I've just been enjoying it. I've just been enjoying playing the paladin, and especially when you're the prop paladin and you're tanking heroics, you just control everything, don't you? You control the pace. You kind of it makes doing heroics very, very comfy when you're the prop paladin. But yeah, that's been me really. Just been stuck in 5-mans with Nolty. Do you want to take us on to the news then?
yeah. So I mean, I guess the most important thing that we want to bring up, which if anyone doesn't know, is that the honor gear and the season 1 arena gear is now discounted, right? So like this is gear that, like, even if you are strictly a PvE player, I talked about this last week, it's definitely not gear that you want to completely write off, right? Especially for alts. A lot of the gladiator gear, you could just get this gladiator gear, and if you, let's say you had 2,000 3,000 arena points saved up from doing 4 or 5 weeks of arena and then you never touched it again, you could pretty much go buy the entire Glad set, which is like on par with most of your pre-bis and even better than some of your pre-bis. And I think a lot of people didn't realize that it was going to be as cheap as it is. That I'm not sure if these are the same prices as the first time around, but it feels pretty cheap. So for me on my Paladin, I was able to pick up the entire set, and it was more than enough. I was tanking Kara with it, like no problem. It's very, very good. And then the honor gear on top of that has been discounted, right? Because with the launch of season 2, you're going to get new offset pieces, obviously like belt, boots, bracers. Those will cost the same marks that the first ones did in season 1. But the season 1 gear is now no marks. You don't need any marks. And it's extremely discounted. I did not remember that the mark cost was going away. And I want you all to know that I spent all of the week before last week farming all of those marks, to buy all those pieces. Then I bought the pieces. And then 3 days later, they lowered the price and took away the requirement for the marks. So I was extremely happy when that happened. So yeah, that's I think that's really the bulk of like any news that's come out, right? Obviously, we're going to talk about the Classic Plus leak that came out, and then we have the release of Phase 2 this Thursday.
Well, I think you raise a good point, though, even though much to your suffering of what you've done with the marks, but it is worth at least noting that, when the Phase 2 gear becomes available next week, the Season 2 gear next week, when the Season 2 starts, doing a bit of PvP, like between now and then, just to get marks, because, for a lot of classes, like the boots, braces, and belt are massive. Feral tanks, they're great. Prop paladins for fret gear, they're great. There's a lot of classes that can use one or all 3 pieces of those. So if you're a bit bored waiting for the raids to start on Thursday, or maybe your guild don't actually start raiding until maybe Sunday or something like ours does, you got something to do, which is actually going to benefit you next week. The only other thing was the discount they've got a sale on at the moment, haven't they? Which I don't want to be sat here pushing Blizzard stuff, so you go and spend money. But it is at least worth thinking about that for Phase 2. If you were planning at some point on having an alt or something like that, it's like 30% off until the 18th of May. Just saying it now because like our Warlock tank actually he boosted a Paladin like 4 days before the sale went on. So he's kind of a bit salty about that. But
yeah, I'm just hoping that we get Joyous Journeys after the sale ends, and that Blizzard was just trying to capitalize one last time by reducing the price of the boost, and then after they've made their second round of millions of dollars from people buying their boosted tunes, then they're like, all right, for the people that aren't going to give us money, here's your little Joyous Journeys buff. Enjoy leveling.
I don't know why that would prevent them from giving you the discount, because if they give us Joyous Journeys from just 58 plus, that would really benefit everybody. Boost to 58, give us your money, and then let me get to 70 really quickly. Or 50%, even if it was 50% off the leveling from 58 to 70, it's still a long journey. It's still really long. So I can't see us getting that if that's your logic. I would love it though. I want to boost a character on the American servers so I can go play with you guys and the content creators over in America, do some heroics and stuff. I'd love if Joyous Journeys come in. That'd be amazing.
I don't see any reason not to, and I honestly think that the people that will buy a boost now would buy a boost even if Joyous Journeys was there. Because like you say, it makes it quicker, but it don't make it quick. You know what I mean? It's still a slog even with Joyous Journeys. So instead
of Joyous Journeys, let's get that Discoverer's Delight buff where it gives you gold too. It's like 150 XP and 300% gold from quests. So yeah, screw Joyous Journeys. No. Give me the Discoverer's Delight buff.
Give me that money.
Yeah. We need gold in this, especially for alts. Like not having account bound epic flying for your alts is ridiculous.
I was going to say boosting in TBC is kind of weird, right? Like because you need there's certain things that aren't account bound, right? Like the head enchants and things like that, where you need reps, or like the shapeshifter signet, the ring, the Lower City Exalted ring. So like you could even if you could boost all the way up, like buying slave pens boost, right, or anything like that, you still need to like go and farm these reps. So like boosting all the way in TBC, in my opinion, like I don't think I would be into that. So like Joyous Journeys would help quite a bit, but even then, think about it, you would still need to sit there and do like 25, 2 boss runs in Shadow Labs to get exalted for your ring and stuff like that. So TBC is definitely a little weird with that stuff. Or if you're a caster, you need the head enchant from Shatar, right? So there's a lot of grinding to be done.
That's the nature of it, I think. I think that's fine. I would personally make all reps account bound, but like I'm also not mad that that's just the way TBC is.
Yeah, they should just be a thing. But we did talk about that last week, so we'll move on to last minute prep for SSC and TK.
Yeah, for me, honestly, it's just looking at the raid as a whole, thinking about the roster and what I'm gonna put out. I'm thinking straight away Hydros, and I'm like, do I even need to give? I plan to give a warrior the frost res gear. I'm like, do I even need to do that? Can I get Scott to tank 90% of the fight in his frost res? Sorry, I'm actually meant the nature res. And can I just get my warrior to stay DPS, not have the nature res gear, and maybe my feral tank and just wear PvP gear for a jump of it? And the thought of like progress it that way and then being safe kind of has me doing things, and then. Yeah, and then I'm just thinking, like, does this really even need 3 tanks? Do I even want to take my 3rd tank at all? Oh, so that's my prep. I'll probably do a little bit of PvP and sneak out some bracers if I can. And that's about it, really. I think that's handy enough. I still have one of our guys, which actually is one of our tanks, Scott, hit us up yesterday going like, I haven't done the dungeons yet. Can I still get in the raid? How many of you have guys like that in your raid? Like what?
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see that on Thursday. We're going to see that from some people, like, oh, I didn't finish my Doom-Man or whatever. Yeah, that's kind of been the trend this time around in TBC, so I'm fully expecting that.
He wasn't important, though. He was only the off-tank,
Yeah. He can't even tank a... one shot.
I think what you were saying will be what we end up doing, even if it's not week 1. In all fairness, where I just tank it, and it's going to be so low when I transition it across into the nature phase anyway that I just continue tanking it, and then I might die. Then Lee goes bare and tries to pick it up, or he's building threat. I think we didn't even have our proper pumper group, did we? And we only had to transition it once. Like if we're looking at getting it to sort of like 30% or something like that when we actually move it across to start the nature phase, I think we'll be one tanking it very, very quickly.
Only issue in that respect is that some people were cheating with their gear, so that might.
I was going to say, how low did you get it before you changed them?
I was like 30%, 20% maybe. It was very low, yeah.
It shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, when it comes to resistance though, I'm going to put a chart on the screen just showing like the resistances and how it works, and sort of what my personal experience was, tanking the frost portion of it, and also seeing our warlock like having overkill levels of fire res. I would say that there's only a certain amount of preparation that you really need to put in. And I think, aiming for the sort of 2-4-4 resistance with an aura or a totem is going to be comfortable in post nerf. And I would say that to be true for, fire, nature, and frost, depending on which of the two bosses. I was literally a couple of resistance under 365, and I've got a 365 set. But if you get to 2-4-4, what that basically means is you will never take full damage. Like a swing will never do full damage. So sort of the 2-4-4 resistance mark is like really what I would say is the minimum that everybody should get, but it's not just the minimum, it's what I would aim at personally, which
with
means
an aura,
you only,
you're saying.
Yeah, with an aura.
Oh, yeah,
well, no, 174 without the aura, so then it takes you up to 2-4-4 with the aura, and that will be a comfortable amount. As I say, no swing will ever do full damage because it removes 0% completely off of the table. So the majority of the time you'll be taking sort of 50%. There's a lot of 25% around that sort of thing. It's only when you get to 365 that you then remove the 25% partial resist as well, and then you're just taking no damage. But literally, you saw, no, you was there. I was taking like just nothing. Was it? It was just irrelevant.
You talking about Leothurus, is it, or
no on Hydros with a frost resistance?
Yeah,
it was.
Who was your nature tank after you switched it over?
We had a warrior do it.
A warrior?
Yeah, and then he just held it till the end. We just made him shield wall at like 15%, and I just died.
Did he have an issue with the ads or anything, like picking the ads up, or?
No, we just banished them.
Okay.
Just straight away. We knew we weren't going to touch them. But then we had Scott there, so if any of you guys don't have enough warlocks, we had Scott, we have the paladin there to just pick them all up, and I would just seed them all down as quick as possible.
Okay.
You could save lust for that part too if you were really like struggling.
Yep. Yeah, because like I said, this is my first time going into all this as a tank. All of my years playing Classic, I've never been a tank. So, and I'm a warrior, so I'm like, that is one thing I've watched all these guides and all this stuff, and I'm not going to really know until I get in there. But I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like hold all these ads afterwards without misdirects, but I think it should be fine.
I wouldn't even go near them. You're the nature res tank?
Yeah.
Wouldn't even touch them. I would just full single target Zug.
And then you banish the ads.
Either the banish or other tank's problem.
Okay.
Because you'll have no threat, even with low resistance. You'll have to just full Zug into the boss. Because for a fact, ain't nobody waiting on you to get aggro.
No.
And there's going to be some spud on the other side that's going to run him across. And now you've got 8 ads to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
So full single target Zug. Wouldn't touch the ads.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say, again, with Leo as well, if you're going to have like a prop paladin tank it, or even if you're going to have a warlock tank it, like we had our warlock that was at the 365 cap, I believe I'm right in saying, and he never even got to 5 stacks. Like it was just overkill. So yeah, I'm planning on running. Yeah, I'm just gonna hit the sort of 2-4-4 mark. Obviously, it's a little bit different when it comes to Leo because it's it's more about resists and less about like damage intake, if you know what I mean. But I'm certainly not going overboard with it. But I wanted to just bring it up purely because there'll be a lot of people that this is part of their prep in it for the next few days before they go into the raid. They're probably panicking about, oh my god, I've not got 365 resist. When honestly, it's just negligible. I really won't worry about it. And then attunements. When it comes to attunements, I just literally want to touch on it. Obviously, you can get, in the Black Temple attunement, you can get up to the point where you need to go into SSC. So I would recommend, even though you're going to have the whole phase to do it, if you want to just get it out of the way and forget about it, you want to get up to doing the step called Atamaya Terrace in Shadow Moon Valley, which is a 5-man quest. And then you're going to naturally get taken into SSC, and then you'll progress through that and then go into TK. So while it's not essential, because again, you're going to have weeks and weeks and weeks to get this done anyway, if you're like I am and you just want to go into the next raids as prepared as possible and just tick the attunements off, then that's the only bit of last minute prep that I would recommend people doing.
I've done every quest in TBC. I haven't done that before where every single quest has been done in Outlands. So I've done all the attunements without even like trying to do them because they were an attunement. Yeah, and the Thornling seeds that I farmed this week, that was my main prep. And then I got to get runes. These fights are a little bit longer. and there's a lot more of them than this phase. I was kind of going into the raid week with like 10 or 15 runes, but I need to like at least double that and try to get 30, 40 demonic runes or dark runes each week. And I've got somewhere between 15 and 20 Thornling seeds for the first week, just in case, stocked up.
I'm so sad I don't live in the same world as you. 40 dark runes.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it takes a while.
That's 400 gold, and we haven't even talked about a flask.
Oh yeah, I'm not buying those. I'll farm those. And buying the flask, it's already up to 105 gold for Blinding Light over on NA. I don't know if they're that expensive in EU for you guys, but yeah, they're jumping up like 5 gold average a week.
I didn't find any of the bosses particularly long.
Okay.
Yeah, that warrants them. I mean, I know obviously you spend an hour on each boss, but
yeah.
This is 5-click Maggie territory.
No, I mean, if the fight's longer than 2 minutes, then I need a rune. Boomies just struggle on mana. If I have a Shadow Priest in my group, then it helps out a lot. But I'm not guaranteed a Shadow Priest in my group every week, so I gotta have those runes ready. Yeah, so we're at the point now where all we have to choose from in Classic is either TBC era. We've actually got a lot of options. You got Hardcore, you got Seasonal Discovery, and you got Mist of Pandaria. MOP is on the PTR for its last phase, so who knows what's coming after MOP. There's been no comms yet of, is there going to be a WAD? Are we going to have to beta test WAD and find the bugs, report them, and then have a WAD launch? Is there anything that's going to be coming after TBC? I know Phase 2 is only just going to start here in a couple of days, but everybody's already wondering, is Wrath going to come out at the end of this with the accelerated cadence? We're talking late 2026 with a possible Wrath anniversary, which kind of conflicts with what some people are thinking Classic Plus is going to launch with. And that's, I think, where the discussion, for me at least, is I think that we're not going to get a Wrath after TBC until the 25th anniversary of WoW, which was, I think, 2028 or 2029. I want to say 2029. So, yeah, for me, I think we will get a Wrath anniversary, but it's not going to come until after Classic Plus is launched and run like at least a 2-year course, which I'm assuming is going to be how long the content is going to be for Classic Plus. Maybe Classic Plus has like an expansion afterwards, and then that would go at the same time as Wrath anniversary, and then if you didn't enjoy Classic Plus, then you could have that option to play Wrath at that time. But yeah, I wish we got a Wrath earlier than that, but I feel like we still got a couple years for the next Wrath fresh.
Your thoughts, Nolte? I know you've done a video on this recently talking about, I believe you said we're not going to get Wrath.
Yeah, I don't think we get Wrath. I think we get Classic Plus just a little sooner than most people. I think the general consensus that I've got from that video is that we get Wrath, we spend the year letting Classic Plus cook, and then we go into Classic Plus once like Lich King's out. I don't see it. One of the things that sort of like tilted my head thinking, oh, we're not getting Wrath was I was setting up for OnlyFangs, and it just ended. It didn't happen. I know it had 101 reasons why it didn't happen, and a lot of people like in my chat were like, James, you're talking absolute wops here. My spidey sense went off. I was like, what's going on? Something happened there in late March, early April, and I just can't see Wrath happening. I have a video out about it. I go over a couple of points, but just the main things that really make me think that Wrath isn't coming is that nobody has spoke about it at all. You know, there's you look at Mr. Pandaria, there's nothing about WoD. You look at the TBC timeline, there's nothing about Wrath, and I stand by the statement is I think we get Wrath as much as I think we get WoD, and that is zero chance.
I personally, I do believe that we're getting Wrath for a couple of reasons. Like, I hope I'm wrong with this take, right? I would love for Classic Plus to come like a month after BlizzCon. But I personally don't see that happening. And one of the main reasons is, you know, we didn't see the anniversary servers coming either, right? And we just like restarted the whole original trilogy again. And we didn't expect that to happen. And I just have a really hard time believing that they would do servers that are marketed as anniversary servers and then stop it right before the most popular version of Classic. You know what I mean? Like Wrath is like infinitely the most popular. Like everyone loves Wrath for the most part. And I just feel like it would be such a weird thing, especially if you go back and look at the numbers from last time, right? Going from 2019 into TBC into Wrath. Wrath is when everything peaks. And then it's just a slow decline from there. And it was an incline up into that point, right? So why would they cut it short from a business standpoint and not just release Wrath Anniversary, and then towards the end of Wrath Anniversary, release Classic Plus? My take on it, and there's 1,000,001 different takes. None of them are right or wrong, right? None of us actually know. But my take is that BlizzCon's going to come. We're going to get a Classic Plus announcement, maybe a nice trailer. They're going to drum up a bunch of hype already. Like you already see everyone post. We're all posting Classic Plus, leak, this, that, the other thing. And I think it's going to have a 2027 release date on it. And I personally do think we're going to move into Wrath. Again, I want to be wrong. I want to play Classic Plus. I love Wrath, but that's my thoughts on it. I can't see them stopping the trilogy before the most popular version of the trilogy on servers that are marketed as anniversary servers, like celebration servers, right? Like it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
So you're thinking that Wrath is going to come and then Wrath is going to end before Classic Plus comes out, or they're going to be launched about the same time? Like Wrath is going to launch first and then Classic Plus will launch like during the Old War phase kind of ish in Wrath?
No, see, if we do get a Wrath first, in my opinion, I think Classic Plus is going to come after ICC is done. You know what I mean? After ICC's been out, that's when Classic Plus would come, in my opinion. Or they could, Blizzard has done some weird stuff in the past too. Like, yeah, what you're saying could also be true too. They could release Wrath and then release Classic Plus on top of that. I just feel like it's kind of weird to do that.
Yeah,
and if you really think about the timeline, if let's say, for example, if Classic Plus really is, Classic Plus what we all think it's going to be, or we all want it to be, it would make sense to go through the original trilogy one last time and then see what the game is like if, let's say, the Dark Portal never opened, stuff like that, right? And it just makes sense to me. And someone, I don't know if any of you, but Scotty probably knows him, Cheesebags, someone from my community, he brought up a really good way that they could do it. And I was like, that would send shivers down everyone's spine, right? If you played through Wrath and then you kill the Lich King and then you get a new cutscene. And that is where they end this series of Classic, and in that cutscene is the basically the lead in to what Classic Plus is. Could be cool, but that's my take.
I think that would be amazing if we wouldn't have already data mined that 6 months before Wrath even comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that. I like your plan. The fantasy of it, and it makes sense. Like if we were to go back to Classic, I don't think anybody doubts that Wrath comes out. Not anybody. No haters, whatever. We get the Wrath, it ends, we go to Classic Plus, happy days. I've just seen a couple of things that, which I go over in my video, just seeing the steps all seem to just align. And now we're talking about Classic Plus leaks, and Turtle WoW being shut down, and history's repeating itself. And I just don't see where Wrath has room to fit in. And Wrath, the game philosophy of Wrath is kind of different as well. I reckon the vast majority of people that are really into Wrath probably wouldn't like Classic Plus, and it feels like Blizzard would then be fighting with itself.
Yeah, I mean, my stance on it hasn't changed since the video that I put out, I don't know, two months ago, maybe, where it all comes down to how far along Classic Plus is for me. So, come September when we get the inevitable announcement, if it's the Season of Discovery treatment, where here's the announcement, beta starts within a few weeks, I would say we definitely won't get WOD. As in, I could see MOP ending. And I just don't see us getting Wrath either. I've not even got any maybe they would. I mean, how I see it is for them to then move TBC onto Wrath, Classic Plus would have to be a flop. That, in my opinion, it would if they was going into a beta, they're gonna want, especially if it was an open beta, you're gonna have a content creator beta like you do with all of these games. But then a couple of months later, you would imagine if they it was the Season of Discovery treatment, by the end of the year, it's going to be open beta. they're going to want everyone. They're going to want everyone playing it. They won't give a shit about any of the other versions of the game. Let's be honest. So I still don't see WoD happening no matter what. I would say MOP's going to go into a MOP era server. I would be shocked if they done WoD. RAF, it is kind of crazy not to do it, but if Classic Plus weren't going to be ready until June 2027, that sort of time frame where they could get a good 6 months of RAF out. Again, thinking of it from a business standpoint, the amount of boosts that people will buy, the upgrade editions, all of that. By the time that you've done 6 months of it, you're going to be basically waiting for TOGC at that point, and they could kind of just autopilot it, for another 6 months, even if Classic Plus is out. They've made all their money at the start of it, so they're not going to worry. The people that want to just carry on playing RAF, which is fine, but I think it would be stupid. But both ways, like for me, for him to launch RAF or WoD or both, no matter when Classic Plus is coming out, is still, I see it as a mistake. Because, like Nolte said, you're going to have people that are going to be waiting for TOGC, Classic Plus is launching, and they might look at it and only see a couple of things about it that they don't like. They might look at it and see loads of stuff that they like, but they'll be like, I'm not going to bother. I'll wait and see what it's, and carry on playing RAF because they don't want to let their guilds down. Or, they play both, and, a lot of people would play both, don't get me wrong. But I just don't see it. Honestly, and this is coming from the person that, I was saying Kata was going to come out and everyone was calling me mad, saying like, no way did they do Kata, bro. They did. I said they was going to do MOP. They done MOP. Now I'm the complete opposite now. I'm saying they won't do RAF, even though on paper it makes sense that they do RAF. I just don't think they're going to want to fracture the player base. If Classic Plus is not seasonal and it's what we all hope it's going to be, they are not going to want multiple versions of the game because they're just not going to want to waste development time on it. They're going to want future content updates coming at a frequent rate like they did with Season of Discovery. We're not talking like once every 6 months. We're talking every 8 to 12 weeks. There'll be new content being added. That's kind of where I would hope they go with Classic Plus. In which case, do they even want to worry about, oh God, we've got to get, mythic bloody Highmall testing, on the PTR. We've got to get all of this WoD garrison stuff working right again. Like, surely they wouldn't even, they'd just see it as a distraction. That's my view. As I say, my view has not changed for months. I've been saying the same thing. It comes down to if Classic Plus is going to be at any point in 2027, then doing either version of the game is pointless to me. Just focus on the one.
So what would we? So in that, let's say it goes with what you are saying, Scotty, right? What happens? Like when, in your opinion, when does Sunwell drop for TBC, right? And then how long from there, would that time be until Classic Plus?
Well, yeah, I would say we're going to have Black Temple before September. And then we're going to have Zolaman very shortly after BlizzCon. I've not got the timeline in front of me. But yeah, we'd have Zolaman shortly after BlizzCon, I would guess. And then Sunwell around like November, I would say. November latest. So you'd think that by January, TBC is winding down. I would, if it was the timeline that I'm kind of expecting, or just based on previous experience, based on Season of Discovery, that was so quick, man. I know it was only 1 to 25, but Season of Discovery was also something that they weren't working on to the extent that you would imagine they've been working on this. Like, they didn't start working on this 6 months ago. They started working on this probably 2-3 years ago. You would think that it's pretty far along. So, based on SOD, February, I'd say a February launch for Classic Plus.
What's the name of the developer that says during SOD that he's not working on SOD anymore and he's moved on to other classic projects? When was that? That was like 2 years ago. So
yeah,
we know they've been working at least that long.
Yeah.
What is your? People in my chat just saying here. What do you think the likelihood is that they release this in stages, which will ultimately give them more development time for like end game content? What do you think they do a whole like Maybe they do Classic 1 to 30. Classic plus 1
Oh,
to
like
30.
they redo the level band concept from SOD?
Yeah, and that gives them, that would give them even more development time, right?
I'd be fine with the level band thing. The thing that was kind of like weird with that was the professions getting gate kept. You couldn't like max out your professions early. They limited all that. They removed like treasure chests from around the world. You couldn't go out and grind the treasure chests. So like the level bands it was cool because you could get up there and you could grind some like reputations and kind of get like ahead of the curve in that regard. But
Yeah, now that you
free farming,
I don't agree with it, to be honest.
I wouldn't like it either. Now you said that,
no.
yeah, I want to die to level 50 mob at level 20. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens with that is if there's level bans, you know, now especially, you know, everyone knows how the classic community is. What'll happen is at the end of every single level ban, like right before the next phase starts, everyone is capped and has everything they need, and there's no like discrepancy anymore. Like everyone is just completely min-maxed to the point where like everyone is like even. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like the whole world anymore is the same, in my opinion. I think enjoyed them inside, but
well, I think you landed on a really good point there. All of yous, even though you've gone the other way, as in you think it's a bad idea. If you think about it, if they done level banding and launched RAF, that would work.
That would work, yeah. If there's something else.
You know, I personally don't. I'm not saying I'm a fan of the whole level banding thing. It was all right in SOD, but it always just felt like you was just waiting constantly.
Yes.
You know, like
that's my issue with it.
You no matter how much you say, oh, you know, it's about the journey, not the destination, and all that. Really, you know that all of those phases where you weren't level 60 was all kind of a waste of time. You know, because once you get to 60, most of that weren't relevant anymore. You know, other than like quest chains like the sleeping bag and stuff like that. I'm not saying like everything was completely irrelevant, but you know, when you got to you knew the real content started at max level. But as I say, I think you stumbled on something quite good. If they was buying more development time by doing level bans again and launched RAF Classic at the same time, so it's like, well, cool. You know, they've only got level 1 to 25 for a couple of months. They'll be able to play RAF at the same time. I mean, you don't know. Maybe they are thinking that way.
If there was only like one level band, maybe instead of 3. You know, like if they capped it at 40, I think 40 is where a lot of the classic classes come online. You can get all the way through to the bottom of your talent tree and unlock your bottom talent there. Then that'd be cool. But 3 level bands was too much. And that was 3 times that people were going sweaty as shit and they were capping out their quest logs. And it was like there was quest log spreadsheets on stuff on how to get the most XP to immediately turn in 20 quests, and all of a sudden you go from 25 to 30 in 30 minutes because you took the time. And I didn't really care for that stuff. I was participating in that throughout the years, even on the PTRs and stuff, the betas. I would do that because they level banded TBC on the beta the first time around for Classic, and it was like level 62 was the cap, and I would grind out 20 extra quests waiting for them to unlock it. But when it came around in SOD, I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore.
What about MOP? Like, I know none of us really are actively playing MOP anymore, but would you, if you had to put money on WOD coming out, would you?
No, I don't think we get WOD at all. I think there's like a 0 chance. Maybe they let your MOP tune go to retail, even though they said back in the day that they were never going to do that. I think at this point, people would probably enjoy that, and they would maybe want to move their tunes over. I don't even see a MOP era. Like you mentioned earlier, Scott, that there might be a MOP era. I don't even see that. Like, why have MOP era and vanilla era and nothing in between? It wouldn't make sense in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Era is not going to happen for any of them, I don't think. I think we were all talking about TBC era or Wrath era or whatever era. I don't think they want us divided. I think this time round, it's time to just close all the storylines and just get that classic community, and here you go. These are all now here together, and that's it. There's no more dividing. We're going to leave Era Classic open in case Classic Plus fails. We need all our Classic community to go somewhere else again.
What if Classic Plus fails, right? That's a big what if. You know what I mean? Like, there is a lot on the line here, and I do feel like they only kind of get one shot to nail this at this point. So let's say it does fail, right? And there's no TBC era, Wrath era. TBC didn't move to Wrath. I guess if we had a TBC era at that point, if Classic Plus fails, they can be like, oh, we're going to Wrath now. Maybe. But I like thinking about it that way. If Classic Plus were to fail, right? A way to kind of have something for the Classic player base at all times, kind of like a failsafe for that, would be, in my opinion, to have a TBC and a Wrath era at the very least, right? And like one server for each, vanilla, TBC, and Wrath. And then that opens the door for them to be like, okay, Classic Plus failed or whatever. We're just going to do like what everyone wanted years ago, which was the 3-year repeat of vanilla TBC Wrath, vanilla TBC Wrath. And that could be completely automated, right? So I do feel like, yeah, that could be kind of like a fail safe for them. Maybe that is what they're trying to set up right now. We don't know. But it is that would be the ultimate way to protect, like if Classic Plus were to fail, or just having that available to people.
But they don't need to set that up now. If Classic Plus fails, it's not going to fail for a year. And if their data tells them that, okay, this project has went downhill, they'll just re-release Classic. The era service will pop off again. There'll be that data there for them, and they just go, okay, cool. Classic.
Yeah.
Oh,
they know they can do that. Yeah. Exactly. They've always got that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like you say, they wouldn't have to start at vanilla again. If they was like, a year down the line, so halfway through 2028, they're like, we've made some missteps. Maybe they, started with 40-man raids and then, went down to 10 only. They made a big mistake along the way that really drove a lot of people away. And then they wanted to just turn around and go, TBC's going to Wrath. We're doing a fresh run, 12-month expansions, going all the way from vanilla to MOP again. I'd play it.
I would play it. Me too. Yeah.
I don't think they would do that. I think they would just release an expansion for Classic Plus, and they would just hit us with the hype again. Like, oh, this time we're going to do it better. We're going to go to TBC Classic Plus.
Yeah,
maybe Classic Plus.
We saw that with SOD, right? Like they kept trying to like fix it, and it did get good for a while towards the end there. But I do feel like once the Sunken Temple disaster happened, which I loved that raid, I thought it was awesome. Once that disaster happened and all of those players left, it never was the same. Like they couldn't even get 10% of those people back. It never climbed that high. I don't know why. It was good at the end.
I don't think it mattered. Like, the people that didn't want to do 20 are never going to do 20. But here's what I did love, and I played the whole way through SOD, and 20-man was where it came online for me. But I was just so mad at SOD for just re-releasing the same content over and over again. The Molten Core boss was great. We got to hit a ball for 10 minutes. Meatball. Yeah, that was awesome, And then we're just on the wheels, And then they said that they weren't going to do Scarlet Enclave. And then they went, you know what? We're just going to throw everything at the wall. We released a new food buffs, we released a new professions, we released a new raid. And you know what? It was absolutely brilliant. They just went, you know what? Just take everything. We don't care anymore. Just take it all. And I feel like that was the passion that the devs have for maybe the likes of Classic Plus, that they just are always fighting against like shareholders and whoever's protecting this game. And they just, for one patch, they just got around them and did whatever they wanted. And it just lit up. And it was unreal.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It was a brilliant patch. And I hope that's the attitude they take to Classic Plus.
There's a lot to take in there. No MOP, no WAD, and probably 50-50 on Wrath, we reckon.
Yeah, and I could still see a TBC era. So if Classic Plus launches late this year, early next year, or whatever, I think Sunwell comes out. It's in autumn of this year, but I think TBC will still stay online. That will be a place that people go if they try out Classic Plus and they don't like it. Then they can still at least play their TBC tunes. And then after Classic Plus in 2029, those TBC era realms that we're on right now will still be there for when I'm thinking we're getting that Wrath anniversary launch. So it won't be like fresh servers for Wrath anniversary. I think it'll be our current servers that we're on right now.
Well, I think Classic Plus, surely you'd think that there's not going to be an expiration date. That's why I'm so like, we probably won't see Raf, probably won't see WOD, because if Classic Plus launches and it turns out to be a seasonal server, I'm telling you now that I ain't going to be happy. If it is like, it's going to be a year and a half, 2 years like SOD. To me, Classic Plus should basically, I'm not going to say rival retail, but it should certainly go alongside it. It should be getting regular updates, new content.
Evergreen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like, I want us to be playing Classic Plus in 20 years, not like waiting for the next RAF server. That's what I'm hoping for from it.
So I've been thinking that it's going to be more like a seasonal server, kind of like SOD and SOM. I don't see it lasting more than like 2 years without restarting somehow or something. And if it restarts, then it is what it is. Cool.
I've said this 100 times, but if we go into Classic Plus and we get to 60 and you walk me into Molten Core again, I'm losing my shit. I do not want to hear Molten Core. I don't want to hear Black Mirror. I don't want to hear Nax. Unless it's a 5-man dungeon or something alternative, like you do Molten Core as a 10-man raid or something different with different bosses. Do not walk me back into Molten Core at level 60. I swear to God.
Well, I think that leads us probably nicely on to the main talking point, which we've got about 40 minutes to go over, which is the leaks. Or leak in particular one. Now, we've seen that content creators have been out to Blizzard and people have been, losing their mind about it. Like, what have they been there for, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really want to focus on that too much. We'll just actually look at what was posted on Reddit, which was it like a 4chan leak or something like that. You've done a video about it, Hammer. So do you want to just give us a brief, like what your thoughts of it were as a whole, and then we'll pick some topics out of it and see what we think.
Yeah, for sure. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, there's like a massive, it looks like a 5-page like notepad of basically a leak, or what I would call like a wish list for Classic Plus. Now, as a whole, if you were to sit here and read this, if Blizzard put this out, personally, I think that most of the community would read through this and be like, wow, this sounds like an awesome version of Classic. Like, this sounds like it would be a lot of fun. It does have enough content in this leak to pretty much be a full game, with like an open ending to add more on top of it constantly, which is, again, what we all want Classic Plus to be, right? But for the most part, it is a lot of information. Like Scotty said, that we should kind of just parse through it a little bit and pull out some bits that I think are really cool. But as a whole, I think that this leak, in my opinion, and we've gotten a lot of leaks over the last couple of years, is probably the closest thing that I've seen to what myself and I know a lot of other people would want an actual Classic Plus to be. It's almost like too good to be true, to be completely honest.
So what they've opened with on the leak is, so World of Warcraft Classic Plus is happening. I mean, okay, we didn't need that leaking. I think we all knew that. It will be announced at BlizzCon in 2026 with a 2027 launch window. Again, I feel like that's reasonable. That's what we're all expecting. And it will be a small number of changes to like the vanilla base version of the game and lots of new content. So it will be more for the old school MMO enjoyer, so the people that enjoy vanilla, a bit more slow paced content, not being too difficult, etc., etc. Major features: 2 new races, so High Elves for the Alliance and Armani, so Forest Trolls for the Horde, with both races fitting into the classic design space. It's been decided that Goblins should remain neutral, and both races will have new 1 to 10 leveling zones and major cities. Ghostlands will be a new contested zone for the 10 to 20 level bracket. So first of all, what do we think about that? So Classic Plus, is that somewhere where we could see new races? Even specifically High Elves and Armani, like they've said.
As a druid, it would kind of make sense because you could have a druid High Elf and you could have a druid Armani. So then I could have like new racials to choose from or something. And I didn't think about that the first time I read through this, but now it would make sense for druids to have a second option for each faction, because we didn't get the troll option or the worgen option until Kata. And I feel like with Classic Plus, I would have been locked to either Night Elf or Tauren again for the umpteenth time. And for me, there's not a choice. I have to have my War Stomp, and I'd have to be Horde. But if the the high elf had a good racial, then I could play a high elf and play alliance.
And if that leak is true, that does mean that they aren't planning on doing alliance shamans and horde paladins.
We'll carry on going through it. The way it will launch, they're saying, would be similar to expansions. It'll have a price tag. The price will be the same or more than modern expansions. I couldn't see it being more. That would be daft. And every couple of years, there'll be a content update similar to an expansion. And it will launch with new, fresh servers. This is the bit that I'm kind of like, what?
Fresh servers?
Yeah.
What?
So they're saying those will be merged back to the original servers, which will also be updated at the same time. So when new content launches, players can decide to play the new fresh server or play the era realm.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, that's something that I just looked at and was like, sounds like someone that just constantly bangs on about fresh servers, has ripped this up, because it makes no sense for, if we think Classic Plus is going to be this evergreen game that continues on and on and on, why would they do a fresh server every time there's an expansion?
Scotty wrote this. What? Did you write this, Scott?
I wrote it. Yeah, I did. Drumming up some hype.
The only way I could see something like that working, in like a forever classic, right? That's constantly being updated, is if it wasn't like maybe these servers were just like seasons, right? Like think of it like Diablo seasons, something like that they launched, kind of like mini versions of like the expansion. But to have it for every single one is where it kind of threw me off as well. I was like, the whole point of this is to have a forever classic and stop redoing fresh over and over and over again. But again, I don't know. Blizzard has the numbers. Maybe they know that fresh is where it's at, and that's what what everyone wants eventually. And maybe that's what it would be. It's something like they come out with this new expansion, and there's like, you make a seasonal character if you want to go on the fresh realm, or you just play it on your main that you've been playing for the last 2 years, right? Maybe on that seasonal character you could earn new things. I don't know, but that's kind of how I interpreted that. Again, that is weird wording to me. That paragraph definitely makes it feel like 100% fake, in my opinion. Like Blizzard did not say that. But you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like, Blizzard likes to make shit really fucking confusing that we can't figure out.
Yeah.
So to me, that sounds right up Blizzard's alley right there.
Yeah. I mean, we all remember the roadmap for the anniversary servers, right? The new raid Azul Aman is coming. So
could you imagine in like 2004? You get 1.0 comes out and it's like get to 60, and then in 1.1 comes out, it's like start again.
Yeah.
The next paragraph was another weird one. So the content will feature old abandoned ideas for raid zones, dungeons, and quest lines. So, you're thinking things like Karazhan crypts and, dead zones like Hyjal, Twilight Highlands, zones that are used in future expansions. You would think that they'd put dungeons and raids and stuff in there. So that checks out. The next bit, though. The leveling will be updated, but instead of increasing the XP gain or making it easier to level, the dev has decided to add a lot more quests and class-specific quests, so players will not run out of quests while leveling, and there will be less need to spam dungeons. I've leveled loads of characters and never run out of quests.
Yeah, people will finish a zone and then they want to stay on that continent and they don't want to go from Eastern Kingdoms over to Kalimdor to do those quests. And then they're like, well, there's no quest on this side of the world anymore. I have no quest to do. I have to dungeon spam. It's like, no, just go across to the other side and do the quest over there. There's plenty of zones for quests. I've seen so many people complain about that too. And I'm like, I've always had quests to
I think that's a Rested XP has given you a level 44 grind to level 45. And they're like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, there's no zones with quests.
Yes,
but the class-specific quest part, I think, would be cool to have more druid quests, more mage quests, and stuff like that, and get druid specific items and whatnot while you're leveling. There's a few along the way, but the main ones don't even come online until Sunken Temple, like level 50, and that's even a couple of phases after Classic was out until you could even get those quests. So
the class quests are in line with this stuff. I mean, we saw that in SOD, right? Like with I don't know if anyone has played a rogue in SOD, how you used like Ravenhold Manor as like your little quest hub when you were doing that quest to get the epic dagger at the end. That was like so cool. Like the lore and all that was done really, really well. So if that was them testing doing stuff like this for all the classes, I think that would be pretty cool.
Dude, even in 2004, like going to get I think it's like is it an offhand for your mage like, at level 20? Like that's just so cool. Like,
Mhm.
why did they ever stop doing that?
I don't know if they opened up the other side of Moonglade for druids to have a quest hub out there in Moonglade. That'd be chill as hell.
They've also said there'll be new zones at launch. So Hyjal and Dragonmoor Foothills near Grim Batol, both completely different from modern and will be done in the style of classic. Hyjal will be 55 to 60, Dragonmoor Hills 30 to 40. Ajara will be updated with new quests. Deadwind Pass is also updated with quests and a faction. New quest hubs will be added to zones like Feralus, Altrat Mountains, Silverpine Forest, Blasted Lands, and more. I mean, for me, this doesn't need to be a legitimate leak for that just to make sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they're going to update zones that are a little bit dead. You know, I would think somewhere like, what's the name of it? Ajara. Oh, did they mention Ajara in this, actually? No, they didn't. Like, Ajara's pretty dead, isn't it? When you go out there, there's barely anything there.
I'd never go over there.
Yeah, because there's nothing there to do. So, you know, you would think that they'd look at big open places where they can put a faction, put some more quests. What, you know, that kind of goes without saying.
I actually hope they don't tell us. I hope they go, here's Classic Plus, there's the world. Figure it out. Like again, like in a private server on Turtle WoW, there was a place up the back of the harbour of Stormwind. It was like a level 20 to 30 zone. Didn't know it was there. Just seen this door. Walked in there. Mind was blown. Elwyn Force Beach Clan. Class. Don't tell me. See if there's a put a post out being like, oh, look at all these new zones. I don't care, mate. Like 8 new zones in the new expansion. No one cares. Just put me in the world and let me see it myself in game.
That's where I get conflicted because on one hand, I love being able to test the game and find the bugs. So when it's launched, there's the least amount of bugs possible. But then if you're testing the stuff and there's a beta, then you can find this stuff out unless they gatekeep you somehow and they keep you away from those zones. But then that sounds like a lot more dev work for them to do and limit where your access is and keep everything hidden. So it's like I wanted to test, but I also want it to be a surprise too. Like I'd be fine going out there and not knowing ahead of time that there's new quest over here and whatnot.
Yep. I think that's on the player base. So like I like if the player base data mines everything, I just need to not look at it. Which is stuff I do.
I would have to, yeah, and that's my own fault. Like I would have to look at the data mines. I would have to go into the beta. I can't help myself. Like I would have to spoil it for myself.
I would beta test, but then I still get that natural experience, right?
Yeah, you just sit on the beta instead of live. Right, so the next bit's interesting. So there'll be new raids. I mean, shocker. So the focus is to make the system more horizontal and avoid old content, like depreciating old content while providing exciting new raids. So old raids will act as a catch-up mechanic. So when a new phase drops, the new raid is the main focus and all the BIS gears from the new raid, and the old raids will become available when the next phase launches. So old phase 1 raids will be launched when phase 2 drops. So there'll be 3 new raids at launch. Karazhan Crypts from Season of Discovery will be a pre-raid dungeon similar to Upper Blackrock Spire. Phase 1 raid is Grim Batol. Phase 2 raid is a new Naga raid in Ajara. In later phases, we'll see Karazhan from TBC. So I think what they're trying to say there is that, like you'd have, so phase 1 would be this brand new raid, and then the next phase, they'd give us Molten Core. And then the next phase would be another new raid, and the phase after that would be Blackwing Lair. And they're just catch-up raids.
It'd be weird, so like you would have the option to continue running the new raid or get the same gear from Molten Core. Like, just
what I don't
weird.
like about that is it's like so much back and forth, and it doesn't really make sense, right? In vanilla, it makes sense to go into Molten Core and then you get into Blackwing Lair and you go from there, right? Like that to me I don't think Blizzard would do that just because it doesn't sound like it doesn't fit in my opinion. It's just bloat, and it's like you're jumping back and forth for what? Like they could just make catch up mechanics for that phase, like in that phase with dungeons or something.
Are they gonna make that gear specifically bad?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's very weird. I personally don't. I don't know. That's the whole thing. That one is worded really weird for me to understand. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, I think without even going through it too much, look, obviously, I would say this is fake, just purely because of how it's just not coherent, some of it. It's like that is maybe on a seasonal type game that would make sense, and you could do that because it kind of don't matter. But yeah, like you say, to split up, like for me, you don't even need Molten Core, Blackwing Lair, or any of them raids. We've done them loads and loads and loads of times. Like open them up as daily zones or something. Do you know what I mean? Like do something with them because it's a big space that you could do something with. But I wouldn't want to do a shiny new raid in phase 1 and then they're like, oh, here's Molten Core. Like, that's just boring anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
I
And
thought they
boring.
could take those. What if they turned those old raids into 5-man content, right? And they were called like epic dungeons or something. Like that's something really cool that they could reuse that content. That makes it different. You go through Molten Core as a 5-man, right? You go through Blackwing Lair as a 5-man. Stuff like that, I think, would be a better way to use them rather than just making them raids again.
Yeah, like a 7-day lockout wouldn't make sense in them. I could see if they turned them into like a heroic, even if it was
exactly. That's what I'm picturing.
From 40 to 20. Yeah,
and maybe like a higher level heroic,
yeah.
right? Like an epic dungeon or something that's like higher than the normal 5-man dungeons. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I can't see 5 people going into Molten Core though. Like it's just so big. Like 5 people doesn't make sense. I would need more than 5.
Lore wise, it could be different. Like it could be, we could be getting in after the heroes have went into Dark Portal or whatever, and we could be going in after our Lord's been defeated. Do you know? And we're going in and we're beating up, maybe the odd weak lieutenants that got left behind. Or the Dark Iron Dwarfs are in there stealing something and we want to stop them. So much that can be done with it.
Yeah, they could do anything, man. There's a lot.
So rares around the world will be updated and new ones will be added. They'll require 5-player party to encourage grouping. They'll have a chance to drop rare items and a sack of consumables or trade goods. Each one will have a unique cosmetic drop, like a mount, unique looking item, trinket, pet, toy, etc. I mean, they've been playing MOP as well, haven't they, when they was writing this? It's kind of basic, isn't it? Again, whether the leak is legitimate or not, which I know we're all pretty much on the side of it's not, you would think like the rares are pretty pointless in vanilla, aren't they? There's rares out there, but the 90% of them don't really drop anything useful. You've got one in like Arathi Highlands where you can get the stun trinket in it from that water like area, which has got niche uses, but there's not like rares in every zone that you're going to actually camp or hunt, to get something useful. So that's to me, it's just a given. If you're in Classic Plus,
I don't know. I think Classic has that special sauce where the title charm is the only thing that's grinded. And then you're in, I don't know, even at level 5, you're in Elven Forest and you just come across a rare that you never expected to be there. And then you get a bag. It's a 6-slot bag. Like, it's a nothing burger. Doesn't affect your experience at all. Dude, I'm hyped I got that bag. That's the best thing that could have happened to me today. I don't need a 5-man party to go around rare hunting. Just bumping into one that I wasn't expecting to is pretty special.
Yeah, I was focusing, less on the fact that it needs 5 people, more on the fact that the loot table should be updated on them. That's it. Yeah,
for sure. Even on chests. Do you know, like I don't know how many people have died on hardcore to trying to get a chest that has a mushroom in it.
It's got some cheese.
Yeah, if I'm going to fight through 2 packs of mobs, can I get a green at least?
This part of the leak is where I started to be like, I don't want stuff like this because of the layering system. And if there's layers in Classic Plus, then there's going to be people that just camp these things and they layer hop and they've got control over it. They have the timers. They're going to figure out how long the respawn is. And
it's a good idea.
It's reminding me of the world bosses right now in TBC. Like the world bosses spawn, a Discord ping goes out, one guild on one faction logs in and gets the kill all the time. So if you put mounts and pets on it, then it's just going to be camped on every single layer and people are going to sell the tag or something like that. I don't know what the answer is, but that's just what I see happening if they have something like this. Like putting good stuff on loot out in the open world like that. Yeah.
All right, on to the next bit anyway, because as I said, I do want to quick fire through it because there is a lot. So Reputation. Reputation will be developed uniquely. There will be a new Reputation faction on launch and all of the existing ones will be updated. There'll be a lot more Reputation rewards. The Reputations will be earned through repeatable quests. Honestly, this person that wrote this just plays a lot of MOP. This is all I'm seeing when I'm reading it.
Is he putting in dailies in the Classic? Is that what he just did?
Hang on. The Reputation will be earned through repeatable quests. There'll be no daily quests. That's the next line. What do you think are repeatable? Oh, it means you can just keep doing them, but they're not daily resets. Mm-hmm. All right, so you'd go out and just grind things and add them in.
Nightmare incursions.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do throw. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Dungeons will not reward faction reputation. Instead, the focus will be on repeatable quests. Each faction will have 10 to 15 repeatable quests in their specific zone. Those quests will require traveling around the zone and interacting with other players. Some of them will be made in a way that players from each faction will have to fight for a resource in the zone. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Okay.
I mean, to me, again, like doing something with reputations, and yeah, it does sound very incursion-like, don't it? To me,
I don't think Blizzard would do something like that personally.
Yeah, me either. Well, they they did it in SOD.
Yeah, but I feel like that was a resounding failure.
Yeah, it was.
If they were to go out and say, "Oh, by the way, over here we've got incursions or whatever version of incursions we have," I'd be like, "Why? Like, do they give a lot of gold? Because I'll spend the next 20 hours over there before you nerf it."
So, new profession would be jewel crafting. It will be simpler compared to TBC. You'll be crafting necklaces, rings, trinkets, and offhands. You can create gems that can be socketed into necklaces and rings. Items will not have sockets like in TBC. So basically saying that like the gear that you're getting in raids and stuff is not going to have sockets on it like in TBC. Instead, the jewel crafter can create a socket in necklaces and rings only. This will fit since those two cannot be enchanted like the rest of the gear. The gems will not have stats only like in TBC. There will be unique and interesting effects similar to enchants. What do we think about that?
That sounds awesome to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds very much like retail. I would really hope that it does have interesting effects and it's not just 8 agility. You know, it's something special. I hope it's not procky, like a bit too much like retail where it's procky and you can't sort of see it. But if it was like fiery weapon where it was like you do 40 damage pretty regularly, something simple, small, not.
Yeah.
I don't want to see laser beams everywhere.
It sounds like it would fit in like a classic plus, like a vanilla world. It's not even to the extent of TBC jewel crafting, which this sounds very reasonable in my opinion.
I'm hoping for the tents, man. The tents. So good. Like if you guys know what I'm talking about, I just want to be stood under a tent, chin wagging with the boys, really upset that the tent's going to run out in 30 seconds, being like, does anybody else have a tent? Come on, guys, please.
Yep.
Give me the sleeping bag was fun, but the tent's a different world, man.
Yeah,
the tent
was a
50
vibe.
boys. Yeah.
My only reservation is TBC is the start of where you would get a piece of gear and then you had to enchant it, and then now you have to also gem it, and then things started stacking up. So at least they separated the gear that you can't enchant, and then it's like, okay, now you get a new ring and you can't enchant it, but you can put a gem in it. So like maybe that would be okay, and maybe that wouldn't remove me too far away from the classic feel, because now there's gems and sockets. But I kind of like the idea of a jewel crafter being able to give you kind of like a leatherworking belt, or like a belt buckle on a couple of your slots to give you some extra stuff.
Yeah,
and then they could use that as a way to give casters extra mana. Like as bounce druid, I'm always thinking about how is my mana going to be. So it's like I could proc a little bit of mana every couple of seconds or something with one of my gems. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Cool. And then they've gone on like wider profession changes. I'm not going to read through them all, but basically they've used engineering supposedly as a baseline, bringing all of the level work in alchemy, everything up to that level. So level workers making tents that will give rested XP is actually on there.
There you go, Melty. Yeah.
What'd you say? That was leather workers?
Level working crafting tents that will give them rested XP without the need to return to a rested place.
Yeah, it was a secondary profession in the other one where everybody could just have it.
It's called survival, right, or something like that. It was
I don't know, like
profession.
Be a bit upset if Blizzard doesn't do better.
Yeah, I think this most of it sounds all right when it's talking about the blacksmithing, making knives that can daze and interrupt spellcasting, tailoring, having nets. We've seen them already. Basically, level workers having drums. That kind of thing. You could see that, couldn't you? Maybe not specifically what they've put in this leak, but you could see the professions getting a lot of love because they are pretty boring in vanilla, in my opinion. Probably the worst out of all of the expansions. Like at least in TBC, if you go blacksmithing, you've got a weapon that you can upgrade every phase and all that sort of thing. I'd like to see the professions get a lot of love.
I'd love to see that in PvE, but I think engineering should be left as the PvP profession. Personally, it's the great equalizer. It's where you're getting your mind control heads. Like the one profession being the best for PvP makes PvP fair. There's no best profession. It is engineering for everybody. So it kind of equalizes all the classes. Whereas if we start adding in alchemy and enchanting, and they all have their own unique thing, one of them becomes the best regardless, and thus engineering would get less development in PvP. But in PvE, go mad.
There's still always, no matter what they do, there's always going to be the best professions, isn't there? For a certain spec, that it'd be very hard to actually balance them where, it's not, oh yeah, you're a feral druid, you need to go enchanting engineering. If you want the most. I just want to see professions get some love. How they've actually worded it in this leak is kind of whatever. But consumables. Now, this is one that I kind of like, and I've even said that they should address it in TBC now. So the problem with consumables and their prices will be addressed. There'll be many new sources for consumables. Reputation repeatable quests will award potions. Dungeons will award a bag of consumables. PvP will award consumables. You trade battleground badges or you do world PvP objectives for bags of consumables. This will drive down the price and demand for consumables while still keeping them the same as they are in original classic. I think you could... My instant reaction there is don't kill alchemy. That's kind of, to me, is a big deal. It's like, being able to get a bag with some herbs in or something that you can then give to an alchemist to craft you some potions or whatever, cool. But I think if you remember back in Wrath where you'd just get bags and bags full of potions and elixirs constantly just from questing, that to me is too much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I had the same thoughts on that. I mean, it's cool to be able to earn these things that you need from other areas of the game, right? And I would love to see that, like you said, in TBC now. But it has to be done in a way that doesn't completely just negate that profession completely.
Yeah, I think the accessibility of them, in Kata, where you had the trade goods vendor. So once you've got everything that you need from your justice points, it's like, well, at least I can buy a bag of herbs, buy a stack of ore. I think that was good.
You'd still be removing a profession by removing the herbalist, because if you're not giving the crafted elixir or the crafted flask, then you're giving the mats for those. So then, you're still killing something. But I totally agree that we need to have something in TBC and probably therefore Classic Plus that's giving you consumables, so they don't get outrageous like flasks in Classic and TBC right now. The Black Lotus market. They had a kind of a fix for that, but flasks were still ridiculously priced. The price of raiding each week just needs to go down somehow. And if it's by getting consumables this way, then that it is what it is. That's fine.
So new content around the world, kind of expect a new jumping puzzle. I mean, that's very, very specific where, you've got challenges and you can get chests called Arcanite chests. Again, I think kind of things that you would just expect. That's very, very specific, but, just having more more engaging outdoor content, I think, you would just see that anyway. So quality of life changes. Collection tab for mounts and pets. Guild banks. Auction house changes, which I'm assuming they just mean retail auction house. Flight paths will be optimized in a way that it will take less time to fly. There'll be no new flight paths. Adding new flight paths will prevent players from traversing the zones and ultimately lead to less populated zones. Keeping the world alive and populated is the main pillar of Classic. So around some of that, I've kind of changed. As in, some of these things I'd have been yep, we need that, we need that, we need that. I think, ultimately, a collection tab for mounts and pets, unless Classic Plus ended up going down a very collection-y sort of retail route, which I don't think is the right route to go. You don't get that many mounts. No, you don't. And pets, what pets do nothing.
Again, if this isn't a leak, we all know they're just going to want to sell you stuff. So, it makes sense that they're going to want that in there because, you're never going to actually mount the mount, but you're still going to pay 20 quid to have it, right? You can't miss a mount. You might
No,
never
yeah,
get on it.
Unless
if they went down that route, that's what I mean. If they went down a very collection-y route, but like for me, when I've played vanilla, like you get your epic mount, and unless you get the you get the Courage mount from doing the dinging the gong. I mean, that's pretty much the mount you're going to use for the entire game, unless you get lucky in Zul'Gurub or something. But it's not like you've got a bank full of mounts.
I think they'll want that community in there. I think they will.
the collection community.
Like they want the collection
in some capacity. If they're going to make this an evergreen game, they need those people to keep the world going. Like, I have no issue with those people in retail, other than the fact that they keep selling the mounts. It's like, can you stop buying them and go earn the stuff, and then it's fun? Stop getting all the cool shit on the store, and then you all buy it, and then we all have, we have Asmongold pouring salt in his hair, every single time.
Yeah, I mean, throughout this league so far, they've already been talking about pets and mounts coming from rare spawns, coming from reputation quest turn-ins and stuff like that. So having a collection tab made sense in my mind when I read through it. Because unless they give us the 30-slot bags like they did in SOD, then Classic always had that issue of running out of bag space. You get 2 mounts and all, that's 1 extra slot that's gone. And I know some people really enjoy that. Like, you have to think about what you have in your bags, but I'm not that guy. I want to have all my bag space, so get rid of all of my mounts, all of my pets, put them in a tab that I can just click on and summon. I'm cool with that. The part that lost me there was they had me in the first half, but the second half, no new flight pass. I think even if it's streamlined flight pass and that's changed, I still would like to see some more flight pass that we got later on down the line as an option to collect. I don't think it prevents us from traversing zones and leads to less populated zones because there's newer flight pass. That part didn't make sense to me at all. Give us some new flight pass. Give us some new graveyards as well while we're on the topic.
Well, it's very counterproductive anyway, isn't it? They're adding zones but not adding flight paths. Well, you got to manually run to these new zones. Like,
I would kind of hope that they would introduce like other ways of transport, like a cart or horses or something cool,
like a little taxi.
Yeah, like it doesn't need to be in every zone, but like maybe the one zone has a wee route that has someone going back and forth over a significantly long walk or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When the first time I saw someone do that in one of the private servers, I think it was Turtle, they just hopped on a cart that was passing through Goldshire and it took them to Red Ridge. Like that was so cool. Yeah, it's just so cool to see, and it just keeps going around and around. People are jumping on, jumping off. Like it's just cool. It's cool to have.
The boats and Zeppelins are a great addition to WoW. Let's get more of that. We don't need to be stuck on a Griffin the entire time.
I agree.
As long as it's not portals, right?
Yeah, no portals. Portals gone.
Yeah,
get out of here. Yeah, this isn't retail. We're not going through 6 portals to get to the place we need to be.
I think some zones, like just off the top of my head, where it would work really well would be like the Barrens, northern Barrens to southern Barrens, having something that's just constantly going up and down because that zone's massive. Like even, I don't know, Felwood as well. Felwood's an awful zone to travel from north to south,
There's already a caravan quest in Deathless.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let us jump onto it. There we go.
Yeah.
Boom.
PvP systems will be revamped. It will have a seasonal model and new honor rewards each phase. RBGs will be added later. The main PvP items will require honor only. The battleground badges will be used for separate battleground rewards that require badges only. So I think the launching Classic Plus with the original ranking PvP system would be awful. So I think it's got to be a more TBC or future style of PvP, surely.
Yeah, I think though they could do a season. They could do season of ranking, where you can go get your High Warlord and it's just 3 months out of the year, maybe. And you can get all the sweaty losers in there with their faps and going hard, and you get 3 months to get it. And if you don't get it, you can't get it again till the next expansion. And I don't mind having that stuff in there.
So they've said about each week there will be a new PvP event called Drums of War. During that time, players will be encouraged to raid enemy cities or defend their own cities. The enemy faction leaders will grant a huge amount of honor when killed and a new currency to everyone who participated. Players will also be able to defend their cities. If their own faction leader is not killed during the event, they'll be granted honor and a new currency. This will encourage players to raid enemy cities or defend their own from invaders. I really like that.
Yeah, I
awesome.
think that's awesome. I mean, back in the day, I remember being like, 14 years old doing that. Like back then, and people did that a lot. And like joining these like massive raids to go to Orgrimmar, and I was like level 35. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing, and you would join, and it was just like this cool thing. I think that is a super, super classic way to make like, put some war back in Warcraft.
And if they do that, give me the burr. I want the burr. Give me the burr. I want it. Give me it. Have it be a 1% drop off all of the faction leaders, and that thing make it rare and amazing and cool. And I want it. I'm hard resing it.
Yeah, I think later on they say in there, Scotty, the capital leaders have a very small chance to drop legendary weapons. Sylvanas can drop her bow, Karn can drop a totem, Magni drops a hammer, and so on and so forth. Like, I think that might be going a little bit too far for a weekly event. But
unless it expired, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? If you could get a legendary weapon, but it only lasts an hour, and then you can go in and do a battleground with it.
Cool.
Just slap, but then it's gone.
Dude, that yeah. See, I like that.
Make you really strong with it as well. Make it unfair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or make it even just, well, I was saying make it last a certain amount of battlegrounds. But then you do know that you go in, you'd lose to Washing Gulch too in about 3 seconds. You'd be like, oh.
Right, we are running
just
out.
Has to.
Go.
They got to make it so you can't get dishonorable kills in the cities, because I went inside and killed some people in Stormwind, and I got a dishonorable kill by a trinket proc or something like that, or a weapon proc. So getting a dishonorable kill by doing this event would just feel bad. They didn't fix it in SOD, so it just makes me wonder, would they fix it in this?
I would make them change that to the guy can, like, what is it, after 5 times you get no honor? Make that dishonor. If you kill the same person 5 times, dishonor upon you and your family.
Right, we are running out of time, so just going to skip through to a couple of bits that are kind of important. Achievements. So they've gone into exactly how it would be added, but I think in a Classic Plus version of the game, achievements would need to be in.
Hell yeah.
I think that just goes without saying. Because they would, there'd be so much new content and new content being added, and like titles to get, and especially if there was to be a collection tab, there'd be achievements to give mounts, pets, whatever. Like,
be cool as long as like they're not doing stupid stuff like go kill 10,000 critters or go read all the books. It's like
get rid of all the dumb ones.
Yeah, like all the hardcore developers and all them guys. I think your guild has like an achievement add-on, like do relevant stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last one is class skills and class adjustments. So, things like Paladins having Crusader Strike, they have gone into some wild things like it does holy damage and heals people, but forgetting all that, just briefly, I think when it comes to the classes, there would, for me personally, to enjoy Classic Plus to its fullest, there'd need to be minimal but sensible adjustments to classes. So, a paladin being able to taunt, a feral druid, having a use for Tiger's Fury. Look at some of the abilities that you've got that are useless and don't even warrant a space on your bar, and make them relevant.
I don't think that they went too far inside. Like I feel like they made some changes to druid, balance especially, and it felt good. They added rotation. They changed some of the talents, and they didn't go overboard. So what they did in SOD, like I'm totally fine with. If they went a little past that, then
you don't need one-shot every person in the game as a druid. That's not too far, right?
No, it's perfect. It's balanced.
To death. That's balanced. You
stay 40 yards and Star Search.
You'd finally be able to kill that dude on your fishing node.
I think
fuck that guy.
I think for me, all it needs is, again, not like being ridiculous with every class has got multiple raid cooldowns or DPS cooldowns, or, but just the classes being a bit more interesting to play, and you don't just stack loads of warriors. If we go into Classic Plus and it just comes down to like 30 warriors in a raid again, like, that's not going to be a fun experience. Like, you want paladins to be able to tank. You want all healers to be viable. But you still, for me, like it does say on this leak, specifically like druids get a normal resurrection. Now, as someone who most likely will play a druid in Classic Plus, I don't actually agree with that. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
don't like that.
I don't want it either.
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's not even just from a selfish standpoint where, you know, it means I've got to res people, but you know, you've got a combat res.
Oh, for me,
that's useful. That's like something that no one
that's
else
your
has got.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't want to see ridiculous amounts of homogenization like we get later on in the game. It's nice to have them more niche things for different specs or classes, but at the same time, the big one for me here is like paladins and shamans. I think that I've not seen it mentioned here. Hammer, you've read through it all, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it don't say here that they're on both factions, and I think they should be.
Does not.
That's one
I disagree.
thing.
I think they should be unique to each faction. I think that you should get to benefit maybe from Wind Fury or Salvation or something of the like, right? For each side, but I do think that having paladins be unique to the Alliance and shamans unique to the Horde is super classic in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's super classic. I look at it more from a PvE balancing standpoint. And yeah, what you're saying, you know, if somehow you can get the main important things like shamans can get salve and, you know, paladins can get Wind Fury or you get it for a feral druid, whatever. But I don't know. I still would just prefer shamans and paladins on both sides.
It's only unbalanced in a world with Warcraft logs. In a world of like just thinking about 40-man raiding, watching a few ones there. I think was it Miko? He's a streamer and he was just going over a Horde raid and he was explaining the difference in Horde raids in Naxxramas and things I'd never even considered. You know, like the fact they don't have fear words on the Horde, and they have no salve really because they're just going to Wind Fury. So they were doing a lot more Zugging on the Horde, which kind of fits in line. But then over in the Alliance here, you know, we've got paladins and we're just smashing Saf to bits because we've got frost res in every group. That's cool. To the point where I'm Alliance so long, I didn't even know the Horde had those problems. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, same.
I
played Anniversary Horde for the first time in my life, and I never realized how insane it is to raid in vanilla with no salvation.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, I guess I shouldn't have made a warrior because this isn't fun. Like, this is terrible.
That's why I do lean more down the route of they'll be able to do more interesting things with raids and dungeons without having to worry about is this unfair to Horde, is this unfair to Alliance?
Yeah, I get that.
I see that point. Yeah,
that's it. That's the only reason.
Make it unfair. Let them. One will be beneficial to the other in some capacity.
But the way we play the game, is that going to lead to faction imbalance? Because, you know, if everyone knows that, oh, well, you know, raiding on the Alliance is so much easier, then we'll just have loads more Alliance and Horde, you know, or vice versa, the other way around.
You know,
no, of course not.
Next, so I think that's as long as they don't introduce faction change like they did in TBC, I think the population will steady out.
All right, well, that's the leak anyway, and honestly, I having gone through most of that now during this podcast, I stand firmly on it's definitely someone that's sat in their mum's basement and typed this up, and that's it. All right. There's again, some of it is just common sense in it. It's like, oh, what, redoing zones and adding quest hubs and stuff. It's like, well, yeah, obviously, we've seen Turtle WoW, we've seen what they've done. Like, we know we're going to get that stuff, and then the bits from Season of Discovery as well. What I want to do really quickly, because we've already sort of gone nearly 10 minutes over, 3 things from each person, preferably, I'm putting you on the spot now, preferably 3 different things. I'll go last, so, you know, I've got the least things to choose from, that you do want to see in Classic Plus. Can be minor, can be major. Go, you can go first.
First thing that came to mind is new tier sets. They gave us new tier in SOD, and that was a way that they could balance the classes or give you new abilities and stuff like that. I was able to chain my Starfall if I Star Surged an undead mob infinitely. So Naxxramas was in SOD was, I think, my favorite raid in Classic WoW to date because of a set bonus. So yeah, give me some new tier. Second thing is probably small. Let me root indoors as a druid. You're probably looking for more like bigger things, ideas.
No. Any 3 things. No?
Yeah, give me that. And third thing, You might have to come back to me if Hammer or Nolte has anything that they can think of. I'll think of a third one here in a minute.
Go on, Hammer. What were your three things, or a couple of things, and then you can have a bit more thinking time? Because I have really put you all on the spot. I ain't even thought of anything yet.
Yeah. And you put me first.
I got three for sure. The number one thing for me is new like leveling zones and dungeons. Like I think that is super important for me in a Classic Plus, right? Like we all know we all hit cap level and we could raid and all that stuff, but I want like the experience of playing the game to be different. So that's number one for me. Number two would be the updated class design. I need, like you said before, Scotty, I don't want to play the same warrior and rogue and hunter and warlock all over again every time I play. So I would like, even if they went based off maybe TBC or even a little bit less or more, somewhere with that starting point and change it up a little bit, playing through the vanilla world, I think would be cool. And then the last thing would be more things to do outside of raid nights, right? Like I want a reason to log on to my main character and play it outside of raiding. And one thing that I advocated for in SOD that we never got was I would love to see some form of like competitive 1v1, PvP or dueling station, something like that. I picture like an island where people can duel each other. People sit on the sidelines on bleachers. Maybe they could wager gold on the winner. It's a best 2 out of 3 type of thing. Like a fight club is basically what I'm picturing. And like stuff like that is what I want.
Cool. Have you got another one go, or should we go to Nolte?
I did, and then I lost it. I got too invested in what Hammer was saying, and I spaced out.
Go on, Nolte.
I want new raids. I don't want to see any old raids. I don't want to see Molten Core. I don't want to even think about it. Unless it's something completely different. I love the idea of the raids. I want them to be progressive. I want there to be a weapon in the first raid that I want when I'm in the last raid. Something, not everything, but I just want I want that onslaught girdle. I also want things that change how I play the game. I don't want 8+ stats on my ring. I want something that's going to change how I think about the game, whether that be a proc or standing somewhere or doing something. I want interesting things to do. I don't want mad stuff like in retail, but I want something that makes me like say, oh, instead of pressing Frostbolt here, I press Cone of Cold because of an AoE proc or something, even if it does more damage single target. And then I want the world to be different. I don't want Elven Forest to be where I start all my humans. I want to discover things that I didn't, that we go to the beta. I want things to be different. I don't want to be going through the same level and experience from 1 to 60. Whenever I start my Night Elf, I don't want to be in Darkshore for 20 levels. I want it to be completely different. I want maybe a couple of months down the line, they've added in a new zone that changes how all of us see the game and how we progress to the end of the game.
Cool. Go? Should I go? No?
I'm mad that I can't think of what I thought of because it was a good thing. So if you want to go ahead, give me a little bit more time. I'll try.
Okay. One of mine's going to be a bit controversial, but the first one, which no world buffs. No world buffs in raids. That's it. I don't care if you. What I'd like world buffs to exist still, but they should purely be for like leveling. Like it's worth hanging around in Stormwind to grab that buff because it's going to help you level. But I think trying to balance new raids that might be challenging, around having world buffs and not having world buffs. I'd like to see them just completely out of the game in PvE. That's the first one. And then when it comes to raids, I don't like 40-man raiding. I never have. I would want 10 and 25 or 10 and 20, whatever. I think they should be different. So I'm not talking like Kata, where you can do 10 or 25 of the same raid. I think there should be 10-man raids. There should be 25-man raids. And that's it. And when they launch, it's fine that they do a little mini phase where it is a 10-man raid, and then the next phase might be a 25-man raid, but I'd like to stick to them sort of sizes just because I think each person in the raid feel like you're having more of an impact in the smaller raids rather than a 40-man. But again, that could be controversial because I know a lot of classic players do like 40-man raids, but in my opinion, there was a reason it only lasted for vanilla and they never done it again outside of an anniversary event for Molten Core. And then lastly, I've already touched on it, but I'd really like to see some thought go into abilities that are not really used, or abilities like with rooting indoors. Where it's great being able to use entangling roots, but you're limited to really PvP or just while you're leveling. It's a really useful tool in the Druid toolkit, which in PvE you rarely ever get to use. So yeah, I'd like some thought going into some of the abilities where, rather than just adding new ones, rather than being like, oh yeah, we're giving I don't know, warriors, I don't know, being able to dual wield two-handers, whatever, rather than adding stuff, like use what's already there but just make it make sense. I think they're the three for me, and obviously it's me, so they're always going to revolve around PvE, but it's the thing that has kept me playing WoW for 20 years. It's how good the combat is. And like it always has been. It's always been fluid. It's like you play any other MMO, Star Wars: The Old Republic looks fantastic, but the combat's sluggish. Any other MMO you've ever played, you then play WoW and it feels like home, don't it? You're like, oh yeah, like everything just flows. So I think keeping that is important, but making the classes just feel more interesting, because I don't think I could play Classic Plus if I was, let's say, a mage where all you're doing is pressing Frostbolt for however many years. Like you need some procs, you need some abilities that you don't use at the moment to come online. That's my three.
Yeah.
All right, and my third one, I'm going to thank Lee for sending it to me, but it's something that I am passionate about with Season of Discovery, and they never implemented this. Summoning stones need to be active, and tie that in with random dungeon finder. I want the dungeon groups, I want there to be an option to randomly group with people so you don't know what your comp is. So people don't look at the in-game dungeon tool and they pick and choose what classes they want, like you do in TBC right now, and certain classes get left behind. So I want I want there to be an automated way to get a 5-man dungeon group that doesn't teleport you to the instance. You still have to have at least 2 people go to the instance by getting flight pass, whatever, and then they can click on the summon stone and summon them there. So there's not summon bots that just go to GGG and you're just paying a bot 3 gold to teleport you across the world. You still have to have people actually run there, but you could randomly get your group comp together. You get your tank, your healer, 3 DPS. It is what it is. And no vote to kick option tied onto that too. Like, just because you got a rogue and rogues aren't meta, you can't just like kick your rogue and then refill the slot randomly. You're put back into the queue like in MOP or whatever. So yeah, that's my third one. And thanks, Lee.
And that will be a controversial one, random dungeon finder. Because even for me, like I agree and disagree. As in, I am a fan of random dungeon finder if the content's easy enough to warrant it. That's how I see it. Like doing TBC heroics with random dungeon finder to me just sounds like an absolute ball ache.
Oh, that's
that don't sound like fun.
You can't even kick them. Like, what if the ninja?
Nope, you can't kick them. Nope. No.
The ninja, all your stuff, you're like, oh, please come to the next boss.
Where I could see it personally, or if I was to agree, because you got to remember, you're talking to someone that made ridiculous amounts of videos in the past, being a massive advocate for random dungeon finder. But my mindset since playing Anniversary has changed a lot, and I really like the dungeon tool, the looking for dungeon tool. I literally, before this podcast, I streamed for like an hour and I got 2 heroics done. I know I'm a tank, so I'm not saying it's hard to get in a group, but you just look in the dungeon tool, they don't normally take that long. But I do 100% agree with the fact that like you wouldn't take a boomy, or you wouldn't take there's classes that will have a harder time. So my happy middle there would be having like random dungeon finder up to max level content. But then max level content, you have to make the groups. And I know that don't really cure the problem that you want it to cure. But yeah. I'd take that. If I was out questing and I could just queue myself for a dungeon and then it pops and it's like, oh, where are we going? Oh, Razorfen Downs. Yeah, we've still got to travel there. Don't teleport you, all of that. You've still got to actually move and use the summoning stone. But that I would like, where you are queued while you're questing. So I think for leveling purposes, I think random dungeon finder would be cool. But for max level content, I don't know. I think I'm on the other side of that now.
He's been converted.
I have. I've been converted to. I've remembered it took playing up to Throne of Thunder in MUP to be like, do you know what? I do prefer the original trilogy, and there's a reason why I've played so many TBC private servers, so many Wrath private servers. Like, it is the superior version of the game. So I kind of don't want Classic Plus to feel like I don't want Classic Plus to feel like Wrath. I'm even on the fence myself whether I want to play Wrath again, because I think TBC is, I'm not going to say perfect, but it's almost perfect. The classes feel more interesting than vanilla. They've got issues, like mana issues on an Ellie Sharma, mana issues on a Boomy. You know, there's things that can be addressed, but like I think going about as far as the way the class is playing TBC is sort of where I would like to see him, personally.
Give me Wrath. Wrath polishes everything off. And give me post-nerf Wrath. I don't want the pre-nerf Ulduar. I think post-nerf Ulduar would do dividends with the player base, population-wise.
We're not starting post-nerf, pre-nerf fight for Wrath.
Cool. All right. Well, unless
Unless
anyone's got anything to add, we have gone a little bit over, but it's only my time you're wasting. When I'm editing this tomorrow, thanks very much. Yeah, we can get out of here.
I always have to be that guy that adds one more thing. Yeah,
go on, do it.
In the leak thing, they talked about world bosses not being instanced like SOD. I think that was a major misplay in TBC. World bosses should have been instanced in a Classic Plus. They also need to be instanced. So that was the worst thing that I saw in that leak thing. That I was like, please, no, it has to be instanced.
Well, I'll tell you what. What I really like, and I think they did do right in Wrath and onwards, is the world. It's not a world boss, but like Vault of Archivon. Yeah, where you've got a weekly boss that you can just go and pug, and it's got a chance of dropping tier or PvP gear. Like, I think reusing one of the old raids for that purpose would be cool. So Molten Core, you walk in and it's a bit of trash and then one boss. And then in phase 2, when a new tier comes,
at the end.
They open it again. Yeah, they just, one boss at a time.
Things like Bone Reaver's Edge, because it's a very PvP weapon. Stuff like that would be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a fan of world bosses the way they are currently in TBC. Like, even in MOP, where they're respawning every, 10 minutes and all you've got to do is tag it. That for me works as a world boss. So you feel... Well, you actually get to see them. That's the thing. Like, it's not even just about being able to go and kill them. I'd much rather be able to sit there for 15, 20 minutes knowing I'm going to see it spawn. Everyone gets grouped up. As long as all groups actually hit it and contribute, you've got a chance of getting loot. I think the MOP world boss system is actually all right, to be fair.
Yeah, it's just the personal loot that grinds my gears with that.
Yeah.
The world system.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, when it comes to world bosses like that, there's always going to be a downside of some description, and unless it's instanced, and then problem solved.
It was great.
Cool. Have you got anything else, Go, or can we leave?
Let me think here. Over the last 6 years of Classic, if there's anything else I can think of that I would want in Classic Plus.
Thankfully,
no, I'm
that's
good.
A no. Yeah. All right, guys.
We're good.
Do you want to do... I didn't do this last week, and it annoyed me because I said, this is what we're going to do, and then we ended it and didn't. Hammer, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes, sir. Hammer Dance on Twitch, twitch.tv/hammerdance, and then over on YouTube at youtube.com/hammerdancegaming for all the classic WoW content.
Cool. Nolty?
Yeah, you can just find me on Twitch, Kick, on YouTube, all under McNulty Gaming.
Nice. And Classic Go.
Oh, thank you for saying the full name. YouTube and Twitch, ClassicGho for Classic Go. Balanced Druid main and just Classic. I don't play retail or nothing like that. So yeah, find me streaming on either platform, and who knows, maybe I'll put out a YouTube video. It's been about a year since I put one out.
Love how Go doesn't trust your audience, Scott, to be able to spell Classic and Go.
Somebody type McNulty in the chat right now. They're not going to be able to spell your name.
It's
Hammer Dance, I believe people can spell. But yeah, it's tiny. It's small. People aren't watching this in 1080p. They're watching like this 480 on their phone.
This is like third monitor content. This is, isn't it? Like, yeah, no one's looking at anything.
For the audio listeners too, they can hear it. They don't see your shirt.
Cool. And you can see the podcast being streamed live every Monday at 10 p.m. UK time on kick.com/Scottejaye, or if any of the other boys are streaming it at the time, but I always will be, obviously. And thank you and good night. Awkward little
Good night.
awkward little salute.